Hello, my name is Adriana Aparicio, and today I'm going to be speaking on nighttime experiences, what you may know as dreams. So, I use the term nighttime experiences because a lot of the times in society, they say dreams aren't real, or you had a nightmare, it's fine, it's just a dream, it isn't real, or you had a dream, well, it's called a dream for a reason, but dreams are very much real because sometimes you may have a dream and it comes true. Or you may have a dream and it feels very real. So, because it is real, even if it's you looking differently in third person view, first person view, second person view, it is you. You're able to recognize you in that nighttime experience state. And wisdom in the night is very, very high. So I always say, for me personally, it may be different for others, but for me, my wisdom spiritual level is higher at its peak at nighttime. That's when I get my nighttime visions. That's when I like to meditate personally. I meditate in the daytime as well, but in the night is when you get those experiences at its peak. I've had nighttime experiences where I've encountered demons and where I've encountered God as well. And it indeed has been quite an experience. I won't say always enjoyable because, especially when you encounter entities like the Hat Man, the Night Hag, and the Hooded Demons, there, I've had quite the experiences with those, and I've also had experiences in the nighttime where I've had nighttime visions, experiences, dreams, whatever you want to call it, where I've been to hell as well. And I'll touch a little bit more about that right now. So, I'll speak on the first thing, my first encounter with the Hat Man. So, that was in a nighttime experience. So, went to sleep, had this experience. So, how it started off was where, so there was this friend that I used to hang out with, and she was there. It's like we were practicing for dance. It looked like everyone was dancing. We had classes, and we was at this tall, tall building. It's like it was very tall because it was surrounded by clouds. And we was up there, and she was like, "Okay, well, let's take a little break and let's go." And it was in the night. I've noticed a pattern. Every time a demon is around, for some reason, the atmosphere always changes from day to night. Yeah, it's crazy. But and we went down, and in this nighttime vision, we went and she had this aunt, and like she was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna get the food, and I was like, all right, well, you go get that. I didn't want to like intrude because in the dream, nighttime vision, as you wanna call it, I didn't want to intrude, so I was like, okay, well, you go ahead, collect it. I'll wait over here because, probably wanted some time to talk with the aunt. So I went and I went to the stairs. Now, when I saw the stairs that I was going to sit on, it did look very dark, but at that moment, I wasn't taking too much on it because I was like, okay, the steps is right behind the shop that she is. She'll see me when she walks out. I'll sit here. As I'm sitting now, I see this hot man just hovering on the ground. He comes up to me, whispers something into my ear, and then goes back in. His eyes was red, very red. And I was like, so I stood up real quick in the nighttime vision, nighttime experience, of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is this? So at that moment, like I tried my best not to take it on, and then when she came back out, like after a couple of minutes, because I didn't want to sit back down because I was like, I don't want this thing coming back, whispering something in my ear, playing with me, messing with me. So I stood up and I waited for her. And then when she was like, okay, I got the food, everything, I said, all right, well, we gotta head back up to the top of the building. We gotta meet with our group and we gotta finish. So we went back up to the building now, and we're seeing people dancing, they're practicing, they're looking happy. All of a sudden, the atmosphere changes because it was daytime when we reached back up, and the atmosphere changed from day to night, and the skies was very, very, very dark, misty looking. And I see this big black, inky looking demon just come out of the sky. It was huge. And I'm trying to tell people, okay, we need to go and help take down this demon. We can't just let this roam. But they're so in a panic. You can see people screaming, hear them. You can see them trampling over each other. It was like chaos. And then when I look, I saw two blades, a red blade and a green blade. Now, I'm not accustomed. The red blade was fine, but I was confused because I was like, a green blade? Like, that's not usually a color that I go for. Green is a very lovely color, but I didn't see it as like something that I would go for. So I was like, okay, well, let's see it through. And so I used the red blade in this encounter, but I did get to use the green blade, but that was in another encounter. So I'll talk about that soon as well. I'll speak about that soon. But this time I got to use the red blade. And it was glowing. It had a nice design. It was like, wow. And I looked at this inky demon, and in my head, in that night experience, I was just thinking, I cannot let this demon go free at all. So I reached up. It was insane because when I had the blade, it's like, I knew how to do the movements, and I fight even though I'm a right-hander. In like in this realm, is like I fight with my left hand because my left hand is my stronger hand in the spiritual realm and in this realm as well. Because even though I'm a right-hander, like when it comes to lifting stuff, I find that my left hand is indeed stronger than my right hand. So it is much more easier for me to use my left hand with heavy stuff. So when I use this red blade, it's like immediately I have no like rather I had no knowledge of fighting. Like I had an idea, but like to say like okay I can fight with a sword, I had no knowledge of that. But as soon as I picked up that blade that was to the side of me, like it was on the left side, right by my hip, just floating there like it didn't even still have like like how in those movies, animes, how they would like have something to push the sword into the side. It didn't have any of that. Like it was just floating next to me. Wherever if I was to walk, it would fall me right there floating. So as soon as I picked up the sword to the side of me and I held it, it's like my movements and everything matched with the sword, and I flew up in the air and I was taking down this demon. I was chopping, swinging, and it was like very inky, disgusting looking, very, very disgusting looking. And before you know it, the demon was gone. The skies regulated back to normal, and it was blue skies, clouds, and everything was white. Atmosphere changed, demon was gone. I did worry about the Hat Man though because he wasn't seen anymore. He disappeared after. But I was worried because I was like, nah, I told like to myself, I was still thinking, yes, I took down the inky looking demon, but that Hat Man is still on the road. But after that, I had more experiences actually, and I'll touch on that now. That was the first encounter in a nighttime experience with the Hat Man. First time that I actually saw him in a nighttime experience. Now I'll touch on another experience where he showed up with the night hat. Now this experience was pretty disgusting to me. I'm sorry, I have to say that it was. So how it started off is like they sent humans after me. Like it had humans that was working with the demons, the night hag for some reason. But I won't reach to the night haggers yet because that one surprised me. I ain't gonna lie, that one surprised me. So how it started off is that I woke up and it was me, my cousin, my mother, my whole family, my uncle, auntie, my brother, everybody. We were all inside of the same house. Like we was staying with each other, living with each other together. It was sad. But like these people, it was night, like pitch black night. It always, as I say, there is a pattern. Every time a demon is around, whether it's in like in your nighttime visions, which you would call dreams, nighttime experiences, the atmosphere always changes for some reason. So now, when in this nighttime experience that I had, is like everybody, my whole family was here but on my mother's side, not on my father's side. Like aunts, uncles, cousins, they were all with me, my brother. And like we was going to sleep, but as we were sleeping, we woke up because we heard a whole bunch of ruckus and we see these people with these guns and these things. But then they barged in and they started to like shoot everyone who was in the living room to the front. They they were gone in that nighttime experience. Like they were gone in that dream. They were gone. And but from now on, just to not tie up any word, I'll just use the term dream because I know that you still may not be familiar with the term nighttime experience. So I'll just use dream, the word dream from here on out. But in that dream is like everyone who was to the front, like they got shut up. That's it. They were dead, very much dead. So it was just down to me, my cousin, my mother, my brother, my uncle, and everyone else in the front dead. You was just seeing bodies. But I don't know how I ended up with a gun because I went to sleep in that dream without a weapon. But I always end up with a weapon. Like if my soul, my spirit sees that I'm in danger, I always end up with a weapon. Thank God for that actually. I know that God always has my back. It's like it immediately knows what to do. So I had a gun, an ordinary gun, and I did go, I took down a few ones and they were dead. But then as I went into the room, my mother's room to be exact, I saw the night hag and she was sitting there. You know like how those psych ward patients, how they kinda like tie their arm like this with a white apple, and she was like that. Her gray hair was covering her face and I wasn't seeing her eyes at all. And it's like it was insane because she was sitting down, her hands tied, and like they was trying to shoot at her with the normal guns, but it wasn't working because every time they shot, it's like the bullet would like create like a ripple on her, and it would just come back, and they would end up getting shot. So at that point, everyone else was dead, and it was just my mother and I. And my mother, she went to shoot, but I stopped her. I was like, no, don't you see that every time someone shoots at the night hag, the bullets just come back to them and they die because it's just rippling off. Like you was actually seeing the ripples on her chest when you go to shoot. And I was like, no, don't shoot, don't shoot. And I don't know if they ran out of time, but it's like she just got up and then she flew out my mother's window. And I was confused because I was like, if you're here to kill, why did you flew out? Like, why did you leave us alive and you killed everybody else? So they flew out, but something made me go and look by the window. And then when I looked by the window and I saw outside, I saw the hat man. And it was disgusting because now I've always heard, and from that moment out, I heard from a friend that whenever the night hag is around, there is a demon around because you know when there's a ghost, there's a demon, right? And that was the first time that I learned that, and I saw it because in that dream, when I saw the hat man standing outside there, he held hands with the night hag, and that was disturbing to me because it was like that's disgusting, a demon and a ghost. Like the way how they held hands, he looked back at me and he gave me a look and then they disappeared together. As they held hands, they disappeared. But like my spirit, my soul, it already knew that they were gonna come back the second night. So in that same dream, it's like I was like, okay, I have to prepare. My soul knew exactly where to go. So I went downtown and it had this bar. Now I've never seen it before. I don't even still have it in the area that I live in, but it was there. So, but my soul was like, okay, go in that bar. It's like I immediately know what to do, knew what to do then, even though like I was confused when I woke out of the stream. But so I went into this bar now and it had this man that was sitting down and he was drinking and it's like I immediately knew I had to go and talk to him. So I went, I sat down next to him and he was like, okay, so what you're gonna do is it have these special guns and I have these friends, you're gonna go, it's gonna be in a truck. It was a black truck and it's gonna be parked up right to the side outside the bar across the street. So I said, okay, thank you, sir, and then I left. And then when I left and I walked, it indeed had a van waiting for me right there with special guns. It was spiritual weapons because these guns were different. They were like nothing that I've seen before. And they were ordinary at all, and I had two. It's like they came in pairs. It was pink and blue. Like it was, how to describe it is like it was pink and blue, but like it was white. So like the whole thing was white, but like it had like a nice kind of like lightning bolts, kind of, but like a long lightning bolts design on it, and it was glowing pink and blue. So in my left arm, it was blue. In my right arm, it was pink. I remembered that. And I was like, all right, these two are for the night hat. At that moment, I wasn't like too much on the hat bar because I was focusing to kill the night hat. And that same night, I went home. I didn't want to sleep at all in the dream because I knew that they were going to come back. My mother was on the bed. She was sleeping in the same room as me. It was in my bedroom. This took place, and I was laying there with my eyes open. I was like, I'm not going to sleep because I know that they are going to come back. So as they came now, I saw that they flew right in through the doorway, and I was like, yes, I knew it. And as soon as they came in, like, but it was strange because my mother disappeared. She wasn't there anymore. It was like, it was just me, the night hag, and the hat man in that room. Everything else disappeared. That's it, just us. It's like, I don't know if it's because I was so focused on them that I knew, okay, I had to kill the night hag, that she disappeared, everything else disappeared, but I stood up so quick and I used my spiritual guns and I shot the night hag and she was dead. The hat man did pick up shots too in his head, but he didn't die, but she died. But that when he noticed that the night hag died, like he immediately looked scared and he disappeared. Like he just poofed, be gone. He just went, and I had to ensure that the night hag was dead. And at that moment is when I saw, when I looked up to her and I walked up to ensure that she was dead. It was scary in a dream, because imagine waking up to a night hag, right? Like she looks crazy, like very creepy looking. I wasn't scared, but I had to ensure that she was dead. So I walked up and I saw her, and her eyes was white, like very white. Her teeth were sharp, scratches. Her hair, like it was crazy looking. And that was my second encounter with the Hat Man, and my first encounter with the Night Hag. So yeah, and I had more encounters as well, but I will speak on those soon as well. But that's just to tell you that. So you see, dreams that you think is dreams, it really is reality, you know. But there's another experience that I want to speak to you about too, and this one was involving another hat man, and this actually branched off to another dream as well. So in this dream is this actually correlates with my friend now. They know, the demons know that my friend, he is a chosen one. He is a star seed. So, and they know that I'm helping him, he's helping me, we're helping each other. So they want to stop that because I know he is meant for something great. He knows that as well. And I'm meant to help him as well. So in this dream, this hat man came to me. This was, and it's so strange because I'm actually in university right now, and it posed, the hat man posed as a teacher that I know. And so how it started off is like I was in the classroom and I was doing a presentation, but then the lecturer pulled me aside and he was like, can I talk to you? But at that moment, I did not know that that was a Hatman because he was in the lecturer room. So I was like, okay, that's fine, because I'm thinking, maybe he wants to speak to me about something that I did wrong in the presentation. So I was like, okay, that's fine. But then he was like, okay, come on, let's walk. So I'm already confused because it's like, why didn't you just speak to me outside the classroom? Like, that's fine. But I was like, you know what? Let me see it through. So we're walking. He's silent. I'm silent. And we're walking. And I'm confused because it's like, where are you taking me? Like, why can't you just say what you need to say right there and then? So in this dream now, we walk, and then we stopped by a room, and he was like, okay, inside of here. So I said, okay, finally, he's going to tell me what he's going to tell me. But as we enter this room, like there's this other room inside that room that's really dark, and he was like, all right, so let's go in there. And I was like, in the dream, I'm watching at him, and I'm like, I don't know, because I started to feel uncomfortable at that point. So I turned my back, and I was like, I feel uncomfortable. And as soon as I was going to walk, I just felt in that dream the the strength of this thing that dragged me, and like in the blink of an eye it moved so quick. I was inside of that dark room, and then when I looked, it was a hot man that was posing as my lecturer in that dream. So then now he starts choking me, and the thing about this that was really scary to me, that it was scary because even though he was choking me in the dream, for some reason it felt like if he was choking me in this realm. It's like everything started to fade in the dream, and it felt like if for some reason, I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like if I was fading in this realm as well. And he was choking me, and I told myself, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm probably gonna die because he's choking me in my dream, but I was conscious that it was that I was dreaming. But it's like I'm telling myself, oh my gosh, if he doesn't stop, I'm going to die. Because I could feel that I was dying in the dream, but it felt like if I would have died in this realm as well. So, but then he eventually stopped because he was telling me, stay away, stay away, stay away, while he was choking me. And I'm struggling, and I'm like, stay away from what? Stay away from what? But then he stopped choking me, and he was like, stay away, stay away. And I keep on asking him, stay away from what? And his eyes are red, he's angry. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stay away because I didn't know what he was telling me to stay away from at that point. But I reached a point where I didn't care. Like, I didn't need to know what he wanted me to stay away from. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stay away. And he kept choking me and choking me. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stay away. And I keep telling him that, but then he stopped. And then he looked at me, and I'm like, I'm not going to stay away. And then he went to choke me again, but then I matched his speed, and I grabbed his hand, and he looked confused. He looked scared. He was like looking at me with his red eyes, and I was like, I'm not going to stay away. The look that he gave me was, you're not supposed to match my strength. You're not supposed to match my speed. That's the look that he gave me, and I was like, I'm not going to stay away. And then he looked down at my hand, that because I was still grabbed in his wrist, like I was grabbing his wrist like this, like just squeezing it. And I'm like, I'm not going to stay away. And then he looked angry, but at the same time, that angry look was like a scared look, like he just disappeared. And that was my third encounter with a hat man. And then after that, there was another time with where I don't know, like if this entity was bad or good, but it was a mix of different entities in this one. So in this stream, how it started off, this one is another one. This is my fourth encounter. It was like how it started off, like I was playing hide and seek, but like the place was dark. It always be dark whenever demons are around. And strangely, this is not the first time that I've seen this entity, this hat man in the stream, but back then I didn't know that that was a hat man. So how it started off is like I was playing hide and seek. Like I had these four other members. The four other ones were humans too, and we went through this passageway, and I ended up meeting up with this person, and I looked at him, and he had on a hat, but like he wasn't dressed as a hat man, or he didn't look like a hat man. He was in his human form. However, I did pick up that he was not human, but I didn't want to say because I didn't know if he was bad or good. So I just thought it. Like in that dream, I just thought it to myself, like, okay, this is not human, but he felt familiar to me because as upon arrival, like I was like, oh, you arrived here too. But like, it's like if we knew each other because he had a team as well, and he was like, yeah, I'm here too. But it didn't. That's the creepy part about it. He didn't give me like a bad, but he did give me a good. Like it was just neutralized. Like he was able to hide who he truly was and to mask whether he was good or whether he was bad as well. So while he did that, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna take a walk into town. because it had like a town on the outskirts, and I walked through this forest, but it was strange because I felt like if something was looking at me on the right side, and I didn't know what it was, but I picked up that it was evil, but I didn't take it on because I was by myself already walking through this forest. And as soon as I arrived, it had like these two children, and they were scared because they were like the only survivors at the town. And in this dream, I was looking at them, and they was like, "Please, you have to help us because the man is going to take us and he's going to eat us." And I was like, "What man?" And at that same time, I saw a man driving around in a truck. But the thing is, this man that I saw in the truck is like, this wasn't the first time that I've seen him because he was in human form. So I was like, that man? And it was like, no, not that one, the other one. So I was confused. So I said, all right, you know what? You'll stay on top. So it was like how it was. They were on top of this house. Like it was like this big house, but like in this big house, it like had like another house on top of that big house that was a little bit smaller, like upstairs, downstairs, but like in a house format. So I told them, all right, so you'll stay on top. They will go inside and hide. I'm gonna go back and I'm going to get help. So I went back to the forest, and the same man that I do not know if he was good or if he was bad, it was like his energy was very neutralized, but I knew that he wasn't human. And when I walked back, I told him, "Look, this is a dire situation. They have these two little children in the town. They said that some man is going to eat them. I don't know what they're talking about." But then he looks at me and he's like, "Oh, I know what's happening." And I was like, "What do you mean you know what's happening?" But he didn't say. He was like, "Let's go." But there was this other girl, but I could tell that she was from the cosmos because she gave me like a very starry cosmos energy, like if she was from space, the cosmic realm. So she tried to hide who she was too, but I picked up with it. I knew that she was a human as well, but she didn't mean no harm. I could tell that she had good intentions. So as we arrive now and we're walking through this forest, it's like it went from me like picking up on this energy of this negativity on the right side of me from earlier when I was walking to the forest by myself to me picking up another one to the left side of me. And I was like, okay, there are two demons, one to the right, one to the left, but I didn't know like what they were, what type they were. But so I tried to ignore that. I didn't say anything because, as I said, yes, the girl was good. She was from the cosmic realm, I could tell that. But the man who felt familiar, I didn't know whether he was good or bad. He just gave me a neutral energy. He hid it very well. I didn't want to say, look, I'm picking up on energies because next thing you know, he was with them in that dream and I could have messed that up. So I taught it, but I kept it to myself. So as I'm walking through now, we ended up back in the town, and he was like, "Okay, so sit." And it had these chairs, and I sat next to the girl, and he was opposite me, facing me, and he was like, "Just wait." So I was like, "What are we waiting on?" Because the place is dead silent now, and I'm confused. And he was like, "Just wait." He has one foot up, his right foot to be exact was up on his left foot, and you know, like when you sit in a way with where like one foot is down on the ground, your hands behind your head, and like you have one foot up on the other. And that's how he was sitting, and his hands was behind his head like this. And his hat was on, but like it was like a superhero hat. But he was in his human form, so I don't know if he was a demon or if he was something else. Like just didn't give me bad or good energy, just neutral. He hit it very well, as I said. And we're waiting now, and I'm confused because I'm like, what are we waiting on? Like, we need to save these children because they are scared that something is going to eat them. So we're waiting now, and as we're waiting, the truck that I saw earlier on was like the man in the truck turned into Hatman, and I was like, I'm confused. And as he's passing, there was this low, low, low kind of like excruciating siren song. Like in this realm, if you heard that, you'd be dead because when it passed, it's like you could see the ripples in the air from the sound. It was that loud. Like I wanted to just in that dream, I wanted to just cover my ears because and drop on the floor, but like I was able to withstand it. It was definitely terrible to hear because I was like this, and I'm like, he's just sitting there, hands behind his head, 1 foot up, and he's cool, like if he's accustomed to it, second nature. And I'm there, and in my head, I'm thinking in the dream, like, why isn't this affecting you? Like, this is so excruciating. You can see the ripples right in front of our faces because the sun was so low and he's just there. And then this truck, this hot man, he passes in this truck. And he was telling me there is no man because I was trying to explain to him that, okay, well, the children saw a man driving around and asked them, but he was keep on telling me there is no man. There is no man. And I keep on telling him, what do you mean? Like, I saw the man driving along in the truck, and he's like, there is no man. And then, like, I saw the hot man when the sun was passing the truck, the man that I'm accustomed to seeing changed into a hot man. And I was like, oh, that's his original form. And it's strange because that same man that was in the truck, that that wasn't my first encounter seeing him. Like, I've always seen him in like past dreams, but like he was always just there looking. That's why they call the hat man and these entities the watchers as well, because he was there looking, but he was never in his hat man form, just in the human version form. So as this truck passes now, like I'm on alert because this excruciating sound hat man there passed, he went, but it was strange because it's like the entity that was on my right as I was passing through the forest earlier on, it's like I had the the view. I had that view where I could have seen him, feel him, like know that he was inside of that room because it was like a cottage on the right hand side. And that I knew when he sat down and everything, though like I was seeing me, it's like I forgot what you call the view, but it's like I had that whole panoramic view kind of thing, the way I could have seen everything happening. I knew when he sat down exactly on the right chair, and it had a table in the middle, and there was a left chair next to him. It was wooden. In the cottage, there was a fireplace, but I could have also seen me too. So at this moment, I'm on alert. But I got word, like my spirit was like, okay, be on guard, and it said, put your right hand on top of your head in the dream. So I did this. I put my right hand on top of my head in the dream, and as I said that, remember when I said that apart from on the right side where the happening was now, that I saw that I felt a negative entity that was also a demon on the left side of me. And at that moment, when my spirit was like, "You're God," and I put my hand, I just saw this black thing just come and it went on top of my head, but luckily I had my right hand on top to prevent it. And at that moment, when that demon touched my head, it's like I immediately knew, and I was able to think to myself, this was the demon that was on the left hand side, but I didn't know what type it was. So that demon is the one that sits on your chest, like that's a demon. I forgot what they call it, but when the demon sits on your chest and makes you can't breathe, that is deadly. It has been cases where people have died because that demon has sat on their chest, and that's not the only one that sits on your chest. But tap back to the stream now. So I have my hand on my head, my right hand, and I'm like this, and this thing is like it's furry feeling. So it's like I took my left hand and I'm like feeling because I'm like, okay, what is this? It feels like a furry monkey or something. And I was like, so I spoke now and I was like, what's this black ugly thing on my head? And then it was like black ugly thing. This demon spoke. It was like black ugly thing. This black ugly thing. You're calling me a black ugly thing? And it got angry and it started to like try to bite down into my right hand because I was so grateful because I was like, if I didn't put my right hand on top of my head, then it would have started biting down into my head itself. So it started to bite down into my hand, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want you biting down into my hand. I'm thinking that now because it's like, I don't know. For me, it felt like if it had like penetrated my hand, then I would have caused some kind of disease or something in this realm as well. But the strange thing about it is, even though like and this was a dream. Like as people say, they say, okay, dreams aren't real. So if dreams aren't real, why was I able to feel in this realm when that demon was trying to bite down into my hand itself. Exactly. That's proof right there that dreams aren't just dreams, that they very much are real. They are night vision. They are nighttime experiences. So as this thing is trying to like bite down and penetrate my hand, I feel this excruciating pain in this realm. Though I'm in that sleep state, I could feel it, and I just grabbed it and I just threw it, and it had like this big, ugly looking eyes, and I was like, oh my gosh. And like I just ripped it up. Like I ripped it up before I could even start talk. Like I just ripped it up with my bare hands. And then when I stood up quick, because I'm looking at this man who has on this big superior hat. He's in human form. I already know that you're not human. I'm like, why are you not helping me? Like, didn't you see this demon jumped onto me? I don't know if he probably thought, well, you can handle yourself or whatever, but he's just there. His right foot up on his left foot, hand behind his head, and he's just like this, looking down, tapping his foot, moving it. And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, why aren't you helping me? Like, did you see that demon just like jumped onto me, tried to like bite me? And so I'm standing up now. The girl is standing up, and as I spin around, like there's this demon. She had like, I'm sorry for this, but she had like a very, very like big butt, like very big butt. Uh, but she had like red eyes, and she's black, 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 black. Her hair was in a bun. She was black. Her teeth sharp like vampire teeth, and there was this bat, like she had like a bat with her, but the cosmic girl, the girl who I could tell that she was from the cosmos, she took care of the bat demon. But this other demon, the big butt, the red eyes, sharp teeth, bun in her head, she was black. She was trying to fight me down to kill me. So I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, no, you're not going to kill me. Like, and I took and I'm fighting her down now, and then I ended up ripping off her head. But I needed to make sure that she was dead, dead. So I'm fighting her down now, and then when I rip off her head, like I kept like ripping her up, ripping her up, ripping her up. But then I started to wake up. And what was the scary part about it? Like I was waking up, but I was able to like see my bedroom with my cupboards, my bed. But as I like my eyes was opening, the man who I couldn't tell if he was good or bad because he gave me a neutral energy, he touched my shoulder. Like he took one hand, touched my shoulder, and he was grabbing like this part of my hand too with his other hand. So it was like this, one hand here on my shoulder, one hand here. And he was like, you see, there is no man. And I'm watching him like, what do you mean by there is no man? But like at this point, he pulled me back into the dream. But like all the demons, the girl disappeared, everything, it was just like clouds surrounding us. And he's trying to tell me there is no man. But like I'm thinking, how did you pull me back into this dream? Like, what kind of power is that? Like I saw my bedroom as I was waking up, but you pulled me back to tell me there is no man. And he was like, you see, there is no man. And then I woke up. So that was my other encounter with more demons and the Hat Man. And there are other encounters as well, but I won't touch on that today. But that is to tell you that dreams really aren't dreams. And I don't like to use the word dreams because it is nighttime visions, nighttime experiences. Sometimes you do get visions with where like you are talked to and these things like by God and these things. I'll speak on that right now as well when I had an encounter with God, with hell, and these different kinds of things. I'll speak on that now as well. But that's to show you that dreams really aren't dreams because if they were dreams, right? How many people all over the world have encountered the Hat Man in person? Like my friend, he encountered the Hat Man in person as well, like very much in person, and God came to him and everything. So dreams aren't dreams because if I can see the Hat Man and demons in my nighttime experiences, and I've killed a couple of demons as well in these nighttime experiences and injured a Hat Man, like then dreams are most definitely real. Like, you have been through that experience. That is valid. Like, why would you still be thinking about it if it wasn't real? It is valid. It is real. That's proof right there because these entities that exist in that realm is like, that realm is just the other realm, but it is connected to that realm, that dream nighttime experience realm is very much connected to this realm because even though like some of us may not like experience the hot man coming to us directly or seeing it in person, you know, I have seen a demon in person already. I'll speak on that as well. And it was creepy because I was on the phone with that same friend who encountered the hot man. I was on the phone with him and I was walking up and down pacing. My brother was sleeping. My mother had already left for work. I was pacing the hallway up and down talking. But I saw this big eyed demon just stand up there just looking at me like this by the curtain, and I jumped back because I was scared in that moment, like not like scared like permanently, but you know like when you get that fright, like you jump back like oh my gosh, you know. And I jumped back because I was like, what is this? And like it looked at me and I looked at it, then it disappeared. But what happened is that so my brother, like he drank salt liquor these days, and he went and he had asked me for to throw away the bottle, but I was like, no, leave it there. But I remembered explicitly in the morning, I went in the garbage bin because we keep our garbage bin inside of a cupboard that's closed, and the garbage bin was to the front, and I remembered it being there. So, but I went in the fridge and I had took out some water, but like I heard like if there was knocking in the fridge. So I looked and I turned around, but I didn't see anything. So I turned back around and I tried to ignore it, but then I heard it again. But then it shifted to the doors in the cupboard, which part the garbage bin was in. So I'm looking at this cupboard now and I'm hearing like if something's knocking on the door and it's moving up, trying to fit inside. And I'm just staring at it. I'm like, oh my gosh, whatever is in that cupboard, it's big. And but I just went back in my room because I wasn't like trying to take it on. So, but then my brother was like, he called me Anna. So he was like, Anna, like, should I chill with the swabbing bottle? But I know that he would be too young to like fit the bottle inside the garbage bin and everything. So I was like, okay, you know what? No, leave it on top of the counter. I'll put it because my mom would want it a certain way. So I said, no, you leave it. I'll put it. So eventually I got up, walked outside, and so I am accustomed to the bin being right in front by the cupboard doors. So I opened, I just threw the bottle in because I'm like, accustomed, the bin is right there. When I throw it, it'll fall into a bin. But I hear the bottle fall, so I'm confused. So I'm like, okay, maybe I missed and it fell to the side. But as I bend down, the bin has moved all the way to the back by the wall. So I'm confused. I'm like, um, did did I move the bin? Did my mother move the bin? But I know I didn't touch the bin because whenever I throw the garbage, the bin is right next to the cupboard, like it's right inside the door, so I can just open and just throw it in. So I tried not to take it on, but I didn't want to touch the bin because I'm still like, whatever I saw this morning was what tried to fit inside of the cupboard and it pushed back the bin. That's what I heard. So as my mother came home now, I asked her, even though like I knew, okay, she didn't push back the bin because like I did open it in the morning when she was already gone and it was to the front of the cupboard. Or was that by chance? Did you push the bin back to the wall? And she was like, no. And I was like, no, I know that you did it, but I was just asking because like I heard some noise inside of the cupboard and when I opened it, the bin was pushed all the way back, even though when I went in the morning, it was to the front. And she was like, that's weird. Whatever it is had to be big because like it does have to be something big to push that bin, especially how it was already filled up back to the cupboard. And then I told her about, I saw this demon started up by the curtain looking at me in the morning, and I think that's what was trying to fit itself into the cupboard. I thought it just disappeared back to its room, but it really disappeared to try and make itself into the cupboard. And she immediately went, she saged out and everything. So, yeah, that's when I actually saw a demon in person. And it wasn't too nice because it was big eyed, it looked ugly, disgusting. It was like, no. So that's to tell you, like, if I could see a demon in person and I could see a demon in what we call dreams that people say aren't real, quote unquote, aren't real, right? Then it wouldn't make sense that our dreams are just dreams because how can I see a demon in a dream that society say are just dreams are not real, or see a demon in person as well and have other people, a friend, my friend, very close friend of mine that have been through that experience with seeing the Hat Man in person. I've seen a lot of experiences where people are seeing the Hat Man in person as well. So if I could see it in that night experience, night vision realm, then our nighttime experiences are very much real. And it's time for people to realize that whenever you have a dream, pay attention to your dreams because that could be a warning, that could be a message. Don't ignore that at all. Whatever you have, especially if it's a demon, if it's God talking to you, a higher self, an entity that is bad, good, pay attention to that. You need to listen to that. That's not just a dream. Pay attention. That is a nighttime experience, it's a nighttime vision. Pay attention to it. That could be a warning. Pay attention, okay? Don't ever just overlook that at all because that could either be the key to changing your life or something you never know. Now, let me talk about the time with when I had an encounter with God. This one, I love this one actually because it it always still amazes me because of what I said that night before. And this was actually at the start of this year, 2024, on the night of New Year. So let me talk about that now too. All right, so this encounter with God now. So how it started off is like I was walking through this desert place, and now at that period in time, I remembered like I wanted to get like a little side hustle of mine, but like I remember searching through my laptop, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know if this is for me. Like, should I keep searching? Because part of me was saying, nah, these jobs and these things aren't for you. Like, that's just to trap you. But the other part was telling me, still, see if you can get something. And I remember that was New Year's. That was New Year's night. And I remember into New Year's night because I stayed up, with my family. Want to see fireworks? So I said, okay, I'm going to stay up. We watch the window outside. And I remember that night I told God, I was like, God, I want you to come to me, tell me, send me a message, anything, anything that you want to tell me, because I know sometimes you do come to me in a vision form, in dreams, so like give me messages. So I did like ask him that night. I was like, Lord, like just tell me something, I also prayed. I was like, I want this year to be adventurous. I was I wanted to be, but like nothing like too chaotic to say like it's like, oh my gosh. But I was like, you know what, down this part, it will always be chaotic. It will always be chaotic. I have to accept that and I have to learn to work with it. And I am, So, but I remember that night in particular, talking to him was like, come on, tell me a message, send me something. And then I went to sleep. And in this nighttime experience, it's like, it started off, I was in this desert and I had on like my safari hat and I was walking, the safari outfit, everything. And I entered this cave. Now, God knows, if I see like a prayer or something like laying about, I will pick it up and read it because that's just me. So I went in and it was like this scroll, and as I see the scroll now, I see prayer written big on bold. So I pick it up and I'm like, oh, okay, what's this prayer? But as I pick it up, it goes up into the sky. And I exit the cave, but like how it was, like even though I was inside the cave, it's like the top layer of the cave is like I could have seen through the top layer and I seen the scroll went up into the sky. And I walked out now and I'm like, okay, what's this? And I see the words of the scroll up here. And God, I heard him spoke in that night experience. And he was like, you see, all of these jobs, they aren't for you. And he said it in a very deep but stern voice, like, not to say like he was like angry, but like a fatherly stern voice. And he spoke. And he listed out over 20 something hustles that I was looking for online. And only him and I would know that because, yes, I like told my close friend that I spoke about it that I'm looking for a side hustle, but like I myself couldn't even still remember all 20 something side hustles. Like I spoke of it to him, but like I didn't tell him like everyone. But like I was like, okay, only God and I would know that I was looking for a side hustle, that I was in between the should I keep looking or like should I just stop because it didn't feel right either. Like it didn't feel right for the job that it was for me. I'm looking through these things because I don't like money like that. I'm not a fan of it at all, you know. But So he's talking now and he's like, these jobs, they aren't for you. And he starts listing all 20 something jobs each website. And I'm like, wow. And he was like, that's not your purpose. That's not what you're here for. These jobs, they aren't for you. Don't go looking for them. They aren't for you. But then he said something to the end that was 2 lines. I remember exactly 2 lines and I can't remember what it was. But I learned that, if I can't remember, then it means that in this in this moment here, it wasn't meant for me to remember that period of time. So I accepted that. But that was my encounter with God in this year. And I was like, wow. Like at that moment I listened because when I woke up I stopped looking for those side hustles. I was like, my father has spoken, and I'm not going to keep looking. And I stopped, and I still stopped. Up to now, I still haven't gone back. I have not touched looking for a side hustle ever since then. Been to any websites. I stopped. I was like, nope. God spoke. He said, no, these aren't for you. That's not why you're here. And I stopped. And when I was younger, I had another experience with God, but it was like I was in this classroom, and this was when I was back in primary school, away they would call it elementary school, but yeah. So I was sitting in this classroom, and I saw this demon, but it's like I called them demons, but it was really a devil because I say demons, devils, they do have the differences, but it's like it was standing up there, and I'm doing writing work, everyone's writing, but like I'm looking like um, isn't no one seeing this devil back then? Like, you're not seeing this? And they're just writing, and I'm looking, and I'm seeing this devil, like, join us, join us, join us. So I'm like, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I'm not going to join you. And then I start saying, I'm not going to join you. But I don't know, like, even though it had other people in the classroom, it's like, they didn't see that I was speaking. Like, they just kept writing. And I'm telling this devil, I'm not going to join you. But everyone is still writing. But I'm the only one seeing this devil. And then, because I said that, it got angry and it teleported me down to hell. And I'm looking, and my mother was with me at that time. But she was down there too with me. And like it's like join us and I see a whole crowd of devils and it had this seat and it had this huge devil that was sitting down on this throne looking thing like with these like like those horns and on the throne it was like yeah and this devil is sitting down the big one on this throne and the other devils are standing up there in a crowd and they're like join us and I'm like I'm not going to join you and then my mother goes she said that she's not going to join you and I'm like, I'm not going to join you. Then all I see is God. He comes down. He destroys everything. They look scared, but they didn't have time to do like a full reaction because in the blink of an eye, everything was destroyed. And I heard God say, she is not going to join you. My child is not going to join you. And then we end up back in heaven. He took me up to heaven. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, wow, because I'm blown away. He took my mother up as well. And I'm like, wow, I was so grateful. And he was like, you're not going to join them. I know I'm not going to join them. And then I woke up. So that was my encounter with God back then too. And I was like, wow. I was like, wow. When I woke up, I was amazed. I also had a dream about the rapture, but I'll speak on that on another video. So that's to tell you, like, dreams, they really are dreams because you need to pay attention. Start using the term night experiences or night visions because they are valid. You can use the term dreams too, but if you use that, just remember that dreams are real. They are connected to this realm. They very much are. Anything that you dream does exist in this realm. They try to hide it from us and they try to tell you, no, that's just a dream, don't worry about it. But it's not just a dream because that could very much be a warning right there. So that's to tell you, pay attention to that. Pay very much attention to that. So, alright, that's all. That's what I wanted to tell you for today. If you have any experiences, anything that you've experienced, you can tell me about it as well. Drop it in the comments, anything like that. I will read it. I will sit and I will read every comment because I'm interested. I want to know your experience. I want you to feel safe in this community with me as well. Togetherness because every experience is valid. Anything that happened to you that you probably felt like if you couldn't talk of because we've had experiences with where I try to talk to people about certain things and they just, brush it off because that's how society made it. Spiritual experiences, they brush it off. Like they try to hold back that power from us. They try to keep it down because that's what they went like. There are negative forces running our realm, unfortunately. So yes, pay attention to your nighttime experiences. Pay attention. So I love you, everyone, and stay tuned for another video. It will be uploaded soon. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.